Hi, this is Pete Ekman with the RoboZone Podcast. This is episode 224 or 225. I get them all mixed up because I've done so many of them, but I always put little graphics in it when we're doing these things. So with me, I have one of the other teams that LTU supported this year, and we'll talk about that. But this is Automation Nation. So Renee, we're going to have you kick it off. Please tell me who you are and who you're with.
So I'm the coach of 2960. This is my second year coaching the team. And I'm with my daughter Eleanor, who's one of our team captains. And she also does some other things. You can talk about the other things you do.
So, as you heard, I'm one of the team captains, and I also am the lead of electrical. So, work on that.
Okay, we could talk all about electrical. I was doing electrical with my team the other day. Small team, multiple hats I wear as a mentor.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to go with the best dressed man in the podcast tonight, Daniel. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I am currently the only senior on the team. I am the non-technical director, and along with that, I am the okay. I got a outreach captain, scouting captain, spirit captain. I do media, I do awards, and I help out with pretty much anything else that's needed.
So the jack of all trades, Daniel, as we call it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, next up, we have Xavier. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Xavier, and I'm the CAD and design lead for Team 2960.
Nice. Next up,
Xavier is also our junior captain.
okay, junior captain. Next up, we have Brogy.
Hello, I'm the build lead and I'm in charge of safety things.
Okay, making people have all their fingers so they don't end up like that. Got it.
Mhm.
Noah, you're up next, sir.
Noah, and sorry, I have the flu. Um, I am the FRC technical director, so um, sort of the other half of Daniel's job, but more of again directing sort of the build operations and design and just being a part of all the things that are happening with the physical aspects of the robot.
And last but not least, we have Hung Yal. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Hungyeol Kim. I am one of the captains, and I am also a programming lead. And I am will be participating as an FTC technical lead for our for the middle school teams we mentor for FTC.
Okay, cool. So you're a dual threat, as we call it, both FTC and FRC. Do you ever sleep?
No.
Okay, that's the right answer.
He's up on Discord all night long.
Oh, yeah, not getting any sleep. Yep, gotcha. Well, welcome aboard, guys. One of the things that we wanted to do with you is on behalf of RoboZone and working with LTU. Because you guys are sponsored by LTU, we wanted to bring you on board, kind of do a showcase about what your team, find out a little bit about the team's history and then how you like Reefscape. So we're going to ask you some really good questions. So, Renee, do you want to give us a little bit of history about the team thus far?
Yeah, so we've been around since 2009. That was our rookie year. We were with one coach, Mr. Sims, Mr. Bernie Sims, for all of that time until last year when he retired. And then the team kind of was without a coach for a little bit. I worked in the school system at the time. And so we have 14 amazing mentors. They reached out to me and said, I was just a mom, I was the food mom. Hey, can you make sure that we know where the money is and we can keep the team going? I said, yeah, I'll help out, I'll help out. And it was actually a central office school administrator. So I was helping the team kind of limp along and ended up doing a lot more with the team and finally just decided I'll bite the bullet and figure out how to coach. So I'm not mechanical by nature. That's not my trade. I'm a special educator, but in 2 years, I've come pretty far. And I think all of the students can attest that I've probably learned a lot. Sometimes they know more than me and that's okay. That's totally okay. I do the business side. But what's super cool about our team is we're small but mighty. You were talking a little bit before the podcast how you work with a smaller team. Our enrollment this year is probably under 15, and we've kind of been struggling to make sure we have enough people to build the robot. But even with that low enrollment, I think since 2017, we've made it to Worlds 4 times. We very often make it to States, and so we're crossing our fingers that this is going to be another year where we can make it to States and hopefully to Worlds.
I love small teams. I've always been part of small teams since I've been with First, and this is my 10th year of coaching. So it's always been small teams. I have a special place in my heart for small teams because I don't know what I do with 30 kids.
Yeah,
sometimes,
it gets really hard when
yeah,
there's like
go.
more than 15 there. I can't do, and a lot of times it's just me there. So my mentors don't come until the evening, but we build
Okay,
right after school. And so there's
same.
one of me and I'm outnumbered.
Yeah, I'm lucky. We only have three mentors on the team, but even with 12 students, because we have 12 students showing, they all show up. It's still sometimes a struggle, and that's three mentors, and we do it right after school, like you, because
Yeah.
it's the easiest. Kids are on campus before they get home.
Yeah.
So Renee, okay, so we got a little bit about the team. You are what year? This is what year for you on your team?
This is my second year on the team.
Okay, and Eleanor, what year is this for you?
This is my third year.
Third year, so you're a junior.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your experiences with the team. What do you like about the team? What do you wish, you know? It sounds like you guys had pretty good success, so it's nothing to complain about. And we always want to make states every year. But what are you looking for to make your mark on the team before you graduate? Because it's 2 years from now. It's going to go like that, right? So what are you looking forward to?
I- I'm mostly looking forward to teaching newer students how to use other machines, do things with code, do things with electrical, because I really like passing on the knowledge that I have so this team can continue on.
That's a great answer. It's like you prepped. It's like you prepped for that one. Daniel, I think I could ask you any question under the sun, so I'm going to ask you something different.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you like about the kickoff this year? Because I heard you guys were unique. All the LTU sponsored teams went into a movie theater. You had popcorn, you had pop, you got to see the big screen. What kind of experience was that like?
I think it was honestly an amazing experience. This would be my third kickoff that I've attended with my team, and I think they're all special, but I think what made this one extremely special was you could see all the other teams there and how much they loved robotics just as much as we did. And I think being able to see how engaged everyone was and the effort put into it was just simply amazing to see.
Xavier, what did you think about kickoff? Was it really enjoyable? What year? Because we know Daniel's a senior, so I'm getting used to what year you are on your team. Xavier, is this your first year, second year, third year on the team?
Second year, I'm a sophomore.
Okay, so
Um,
you've had two kickoffs now, right? So
yeah,
what was the difference like of being in that theater and watching it on a big screen then?
yeah, I really liked being with other teams, getting everyone's opinions on the game instead of just our isolated opinions.
Okay.
It was really fun to see everyone excited.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that? You guys watched the kickoff, but then did you guys break up and start to discuss the game itself and break it down?
Yeah, so immediately after we went back to our lab and had some discussions about priorities and started some prototyping, and we were able to kind of group in other teams' ideas into our discussion.
Okay. And hopefully read the manual, right?
Yes, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah. No, everyone forgets about the manual because we want to do solutioning. We
Mhm.
want to get to design. We got to build it right fast, but you can't build it without reading the rules, right? So, Brogy, what year are you on the team? Freshman,
This is my
sophomore? Second
second year.
year.
I'm a sophomore.
So you're sophomore. So you're still getting used to the things as freshmen. I'm sure you will agree that I've had freshmen on my team. Sometimes they get the deer in the headlights look. Not necessarily coming from FTC to FRC, but if you're brand new. So did you do FTC?
Yeah, I did FTC for 3 years.
Okay, so you weren't necessarily green. You were ready to go, right? You were blue, as your colors are very well represented here. So what have you liked about going from your freshman year to your sophomore year?
One of the things I've definitely seen a lot more of is just creative freedom. Um, I really like the design process and I like thinking through solutions and testing new things. And what I've noticed is that as I've become more used to the shop and more used to the tools and material, um, I have had the ability to get more involved with the design process and try to implement my own ideas into the final design. That's been a lot of fun.
Being a small team, I think that's a good thing to do too, because if you get too many, they call it cooks in the kitchen or whatever, synonym you want to use, that you really get to collectively talk about that, right?
hmm Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's still at the number where like not everybody can fully participate, in the design process, and I feel like the knowledge I gained as a freshman and as an early sophomore definitely helped so that I could contribute.
So Noah, we want to first thank you for being here with having the flu. So you're like you're doing okay. Make
Doing
sure
all
you
right.
hydrate. Make sure you hydrate after this call. So what year are you again on your team?
I'm a junior. This is my third year.
Okay, so tell us about the progression from your freshman to sophomore to junior year on Automation Nation.
So my freshman year, we still had the old coach. And one moment, I am gonna grab some water.
Okay, well, we'll go to Hungel first,
Okay,
and we'll take
perfect.
him off mute so you can go get some water. And we'll just keep in mind what I want to ask you. Hungel, you're the coding guy, right? So
Oh,
I'll give you my coding student mentor this year has got a job. So now this guy is now helping lead coding, right? Never coded the robot before. I've been dangerous last year with we went swerve for the first year, and I kind of introduced them to that through the wonderful CTRE, and I'm not sponsored, so I'm by them, but CTRE's Phoenix X tuner. So tell us about your experiences as a coding captain.
well, just experience.
Yeah,
Huh?
sure.
Okay. I'd say, well, there's so much to talk about with coding. Um, I'd say there's definitely a learning curve to programming. It's harder to get new members for programming and start new members on programming. You need to have them know Java or C++ plus plus or Python, things like that. You have to get them to understand code logic. You have to get them to understand even people with already background coding knowledge struggle with learning the WPI library. I'll say it's definitely a learning curve, but once you get it, it's wonderful. I think it's a WPI lib is like a great resource that First has provided for us. And I can say that programming wise, I've had a lot of fun. It's really it just feels great when you write code and then it works. It's a great feeling, I can tell you that.
When it works, right?
When
When
it
it works.
works.
When it doesn't work, it's not
Mm.
so, 70-degree sunny day. It's more dreary, snow-felt
Well,
day.
I I'd say there's definitely perspectives to that, but
Okay.
I'll say it's definitely frustrating to have to go through the mud. It's definitely frustrating to have to go through all the challenge, but I think it's worth it at the end for that feeling of success when you finally get it working. But I'd say every challenge feels like a lesson for programming, especially. Yeah.
Well, that's life in programming. I have programmers that work for me in my private job, and there are a battery of them, just a lot of them. They all know different languages, and it's something they always strive to learn something new. So they'll go from one language to another language, and I could say it's a passion. So it sounds like you have a passion for coding. So right, because you do FTC and FRC, so you're already in both houses.
Mhm.
So Noah, you feel better?
I'm back. All
You're
right.
back. So tell us your answer.
Okay, so when I first joined the team as a freshman, we had the old head coach, and I didn't feel like I had a very big role in the team. Being a freshman, I'm sure every robotics team has the freshman jobs of, vacuuming the field and deburring and sweeping up the floor. Necessary jobs, but um, I didn't feel like I had a very big role. And the old head coach, quit rather abruptly, and I was worried for the team, whether or not we would have a team, even though I didn't feel like I had a great role. I still wanted to be involved.
Hmm.
But when our new head coach took over, um, it just really opened up so many opportunities. I'm now the FRC technical director, and I've had so much hands-on experience with both last year's and this year's robot that it's really a very big change from my freshman year.
Pete,
I,
one of the things, when I lived into the role of coach last year, we just kind of did business as we thought it was supposed to be, myself and the mentors. And then we reflected back on that last year and thought, what can we do to help elevate our students to become a little bit more into leadership? And so we created a whole bunch of roles for our students. We have more roles almost than we do students. Like you heard Daniel say all the 100 million things that he does. And Eleanor does 100 million things that she didn't name too. And everybody who's on this call does all the things. But we felt as adults, it was really important for them to gain some like project management experience. And we could do that by differentiating and giving them some of those roles. And then we have leadership meetings with those students every Saturday morning from 9 to 10. And then we bring the full team in at 10 for build.
I love like you, Renee, I really have a passion for business. I lead a technical team, but I have an MBA, so I always think about things in a business perspective because businesses run the world, right? And if you put the right frameworks, which you're doing with all the name nomenclature, project management, anyone can be a project manager. I know I'll get some comments on that because project managers that specialize in that say not everyone can be a project manager, but you can learn the stuff and knowing how to break things down and make sure you get to the that
Yeah.
goal line and getting things done. So, Eleanor, I got another question for you. Where are you in your build? Tell us right now. We're in build week 5, and your coach next to you just started laughing. Where
Yes,
are
she
we?
did.
Where are we in the build right now?
So our build season right now is going a little bit slow, just a little bit. So next week we're supposed to be working on the electrical. So it's
Okay.
kind of a little bit of a rush right now to get everything done. I think we have most of our parts ready. We just gotta assemble it. And
Yeah.
Xavier can tell you more about that.
Okay. We'll jump to Xavier. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so this year it's my first year doing any full robot CAD, and none of us have had much experience with it before.
And I'm going to say that
Um,
there's probably one of maybe two or he's probably one of our more knowledgeable CAD students. And there's
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 other students on this call who also understand CAD, but it really fell on his shoulders almost as a singularity. So
Sure.
no shame to Xavier. Like he's done
No.
an amazing job.
yeah, so there's been a lot of like late nights working on CAD, and so we finished CAD really late this year. I think even later than last year when we had one person working on it. Um, so that is really what put our build season behind. But we were able to manufacture parts right around week 3, whenever we had just the router running all the time and trying to get as many people as possible working on machines. So that allowed us to have most of our machining done before the end of CAD. And then now CAD is final and we're moving on to just assembly this week.
Okay, so you guys, from what I'm gathering, you got CAD. People think it's easy. It's not easy. First of all, it's not easy. Two, it's very time consuming depending on how detailed you get. I mean, every little bolt, every little, you know, get gusset that's got to go on has to be CADed. If it's not already done, you have to draw it. And especially if you're not using something that's normal. So I have a lot of respect for those CAD people out there. Thank you for what you do because we couldn't have accurate parts or pretty robots without having the CAD done. Otherwise, it's just, stuff stuck together with, aluminum. And some teams, that's what they do. So until they learn CAD. So I have a lot of respect for CAD people, Xavier. So well done. So from what I hear, you guys are producing your own parts, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
Xavier, tell me how about is that in-house? Do you have a machine shop that you guys go to, or tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our machine shop, one really nice thing about our build space is that our machine shop is right next door. So we get to work with the machinists and the people making our parts as we're CADing. But what we're running into now is that a lot of our tolerances aren't as tight as we imagined them to. So our elevator is having some issues. And so we chased down some issues on Monday with some tolerance in the elevator, and that set us back a few days.
Okay, so I'm hearing you have an elevator. Brogy, I'm going to ask you this question. What kind of, and you don't, if it's secret sauce, you guys don't have to tell us because some teams are secret saucy. So not, okay. What kind of drive base are you using this year, Brogy?
So this year we're using the same drive base as the past couple of years, or as far back as I've been on the team. It's swerve. So four di separate motors that spin the wheel as they normally do, and then another smaller motor that changes the direction of the wheel. So the robot can move in like a completely diagonal direction or just backwards without having to turn at all.
Okay. Are you using West Coast products? Are you using SDS custom uh Rev? Rev.
Rev,
Okay.
Max Swerve.
Rev Max Worth. Got it. Got it. Just got a couple of those donated to my team yesterday. Um, we're an MK4 house. We have 8 MK4s, last year's chassis. We just used as a practice chassis, and then, but we got gifted some. Some. I think I'm going to task my team with building the kit bot with it. Just to keep them busy during during build season when we're done. We're not done. I'm not saying
Um,
we're done.
One of the things the kids didn't mention about Swerve is last year, when we were short on hubs, I think Rev was out of the metal hubs and
Mhm.
we didn't have enough to swap out. We had to come up and innovate. And does anyone want to talk about what we ended up doing with our wheels?
How about Noah?
Sure. So
Oh, whoever, go for it.
Yeah, so what we ended up doing, one of our mentors sort of headed this project, and she presented many different ideas, and we went through many iterations of 3D printing, different wall thicknesses, different infill percentages, until we were able to sort of dial in um, the right, I guess, the right combination of weight and strength to be able to have a very efficient wheel on our robot.
So you
So
made your
we,
own wheels.
yeah, we carbon fiber printed hubs,
Okay.
and then we used part of the gearing for the rev because we could just reuse that piece. And then our tread was TPU. So this year we're going again, we've remodeled what we have the hub to look like, and we're going to try and do casting, pouring and casting for the tread.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it's
S-
super cool. We have a mentor who's very much into that stuff, and so she brings the kids along for the
Okay.
ride.
Very
Yeah.
cool. So what kind of did you have good experiences with the 3D printed hubs last year? Everyone's
Anyone
nodding.
on Drive Team, feel free to.
yes. So we had the carbon fiber held up great, and we had I think two or three sets in the pit, and just kept on switching out tread every few matches. So
We did have,
hopefully our cast tread will hold up similarly.
yeah, we had an issue with a weak spot where the tread attached to the carbon fiber print, and so we changed the surface area of how the tread is going to attach onto the hub to give it more
Oh,
surface area.
nice. Like a channeled? Is it channeled in?
It's kind of grooved,
Okay.
almost like looks like a mini gear, and then
Oh,
the tread slides on.
perfect. Oh, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
we did the same thing with like you guys did. We didn't do it during the season. We did it after the season, but there were a lot of. I'm a chief Delphi. I'm on there all the time, so I saw people were creating these hubs, and I said, "Hey, let's try it." In fact, the team that we were with, that we almost won an event with, showed it to me. That was the Dislocators 6081. Very fast little robot last year. I mean, lightning fast. But they were showing it to me and the TPU, and I have one in my basement, a 3D printer. So I was playing with that, and I saw the tread, and we were testing things. So I would love to learn after once you guys get into competitive season how the new board method is working for you guys. Maybe we'll follow up with you guys on that piece.
Absolutely.
So. But that's also great for judges. I mean, that's something to speak to when you want to go get that industrial design award or something of that nature. Qualify for states, get free for 5 points from an award, right, Daniel? Because you're drinking something. I like
Yeah.
good timing. Yes. So that's kind of cool. So we went through, you said elevator, you said the chassis. Um, Hung Yao, I'm going to ask you this one because you're the coder and you're going to have to
Mhm.
code everything. So, what is I call it, I learned this term. I never knew it because I'm not an engineer, an end effector. So what is
Yep.
your end effector that
Yeah.
you're designing this year?
So I actually also do CAD.
Okay.
So I did get the chance to CAD up the end effector, and we decided to go with a roller design. So I know we talked about how we had a design meeting of sorts right after kickoff, right? We were considering several different types of designs. We were like, for example, Xavier was thinking of a design where it's like a spike that goes into the middle of the coral instead of manipulating from the outside.
Hmm.
We took consideration into this idea, and we also try to look at other RI3D robots and how they're doing at that moment. So while we're designing our or thinking about how to design our end effector, we were kind of messing around with a few prototypes with the spike idea, and well, we thought it was a good idea because of how light it would be. But we did end up choosing a roller idea instead. Similar to how if you've seen the West Coast Products competitive concept, you might see their roller end effector design with a bent like Lexan roof, right?
Right.
This is the design we went with because one, we knew that by using a roller design, we can have a piece actually go through the end effector rather than having to flip an end effector around the elevator or like through the elevator.
Sure.
And we kind of had a solution around that problem already, but we also knew that the roller end effector would also provide that kind of auto like or alignment, right?
Hmm.
One thing you'll see from year to year with FRC is that rollers, wheels are supreme, as in oftentimes it's the wheels and roller concepts like you might see with like 2023, how a lot of teams, instead of maybe using a claw, they'd suck up the cone with the rollers.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with that type of design idea where one end would take in the coral through roller, and that same piece would also outtake it from out of the other side.
So
And yeah,
very someone, maybe another team, borrowed some inspiration from the West Coast products too. And I know exactly where you're going with because they have some of the best rollers. Again, not sponsored by West Coast products. Always open to it if you're listening. But I love their little squishy wheels, their little 2-inch squishy wheels. Loved them. We used the 4-inch hard ones last year to spit the note out of our end effector. So love the stuff. And I love robot in 3 days stuff. I just like seeing things. It helps with prototyping before you spend small teams. You only have so many kids that can prototype, right? So if there's teams and Penn State really hit it out of the park this year with theirs to grab something and play something at the same time. I want to see that. I hope someone made that exact robot because I want to see it. So, like you, Hungal, we borrowed that too. So, follow-up question, and I'll ask Xavier because he's the CAD lead. Are you playing with the algae or are you just leaving it alone?
So our plan was we were going to prioritize removing algae pretty high because we're focusing on coral scoring, and removing algae is pretty important if you want to be able to score everywhere on the reef. Um, and then our next priority was to score algae in the processor. So we have a separate subsystem just for ground intaking algae and scoring it into the processor. And then we disregarded net scoring
Okay.
completely.
I'm very curious because you guys said you guys like the West Coast products. That I loved the one thing that I liked about theirs was it could do both, right? Pick it up, flip it around, put the coral line, take off, and put one right in the processor. So let's do a vote, just up or down. When each one of you guys gets a vote, who thinks algae in the net's going to be a thing this year? I think you're going to see it at Michigan State Championships. I think you're going
Championship.
to at Worlds,
Yeah.
right? I think that's going to be the one thing that is the thing of the cream of the top is that. I'm just saying. I predicting it. I don't think we'll necessarily see it in importance during the regular season, especially like the 1 through 4 weeks, but maybe that fifth week and going into MSCs. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. It's fine. I just like to have fun with it. So, another vote up or down. Who likes Reefscape? Oh, Brogy's a little sideways. Okay, Brogy, why those sideways?
Um, Personally, I think shooter games are a little bit more fun to watch than a pick and place. And I also think that if we look at games like Crescendo last year, the because the place where you got the notes was on the far side of the field, you got to see both robots like crossing the entirety of the field, and that's something that we're not going to get with Reefscape this year. I think it'll be really cool to watch autonomous modes, but I think it'll have a less entertaining teleop period than Crescendo.
So, Brogy, now that this is a really good subject, and I think this is something that a lot of people think about, but think about this. This is my theory, okay? We were going way too fast. Robots were getting way too fast and dangerous. Dangerous to the point where head-on collisions were cool because everyone wants it to be battle bots, but it's not because it's educational based. But yet the barrier of entry to get a swerve drive that high, all those teams that got that at the top, I think first made a very active approach to try to level set this the game now, especially with the rule changes. Now that you have six total ranking points and not just three or four, right? To the point where those lower level teams can have the same type of chance, especially. And the one thing I think we're going to see decapitated robots this year, kind of like we did in 2021, um, where if you had to go underneath the tunnel, you could take the top off that way. And those cages, have you guys played with the cages?
Oh
Those
yeah.
things are
Yeah.
heavy.
Hmm.
It's like a medicine ball. It's like a wrecking ball. And I know we're gonna just see a robot get hit by one and knock it over or something.
We do a local competition in Oakland County in the fall, so we have two competition seasons, and we took our Oakland County robot that we made, and that robot, by the way, is made with only 1 hour of mentor support a week. It's 100% student design, student driven, student everything. So that robot was our crash test dummy, and we've been crash testing it into the cage to figure out what will bend.
Ah, was it made out of metal or made out of wood? Because
Yeah, it's
okra
aluminum.
can.
It's extrusion, and it's
Okay,
got hex shaft and wheels and things.
okay,
It looks like similar to an FRC robot, but not as fancy.
okay. I know
Yeah.
in past years, okra had wooden robots at some
Yeah.
points.
There's
So
still some teams that have some wood.
Yep.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What's got to have some love too. So because
Yeah.
it's cheaper, or at least we hope so. But do you guys agree with me? Hand signals, good or bad? Do you think we're going to see a lot of robots hit this year going through the cages?
Oh, through the
Oh,
cages. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Xavier went from this to this. Yeah. We want to see,
Yeah.
we don't want to give any ill will to teams that gets experienced by that cage, but yet we want to see one get hit by the cage. So,
Yep.
just like when robots fall, right? We like to see a robot fall every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, how many people are really excited about a deep cage lift? No, see, guy on the bottom. Tell us a little bit about that, Hung. Why?
Um,
Too
I
easy?
just it's just not as exciting as the trap. It's um I'll say with how well this year especially people have figured out the deep climb, because the deep climb was kind of similar to like the stage climb, but with the trap. That's what the idea was. But it seems that teams, and if you've seen the Everybot this year, but for from Robonauts, and other R3D robots, you'll see people are figuring out the deep climb pretty fast. Well, I feel like the trap climb comparatively from last year was extremely difficult. Like teams were struggling, we were struggling. Everyone's just having a difficult time trying to figure out a trap design,
Hmm.
but that just made it all the more impressive when teams were able to pull it off, especially if they were doing it easily during matches.
So I know you guys are based on your teams, and maybe Renee has been around long enough, but there were much more difficult climbs in the past. Okay,
Hmm.
go look up Steamworks, where
Oh
you had
yeah,
to go up a rope.
Steamworks.
Yeah.
right? Or the year that we got COVID, which was
Hmm.
2020, and you had a teeter-totter that you're going this way and trying to climb and trying to get centered and then trying to balance it. I mean, yes, I can understand, especially when Robot in 3 days kind of made things look a little bit easy, right?
Yeah.
And then I loved every bot. Thank you, 118, for what you do for teams, especially low resource teams like rookie teams and junior and sophomore teams, because they blow it out of the water every year. But I agree with you. It's kind of, what's the, you know, so you, we're struggling trying to figure it out because of the design that we did. So we didn't design the design wrapped around being able to do the deep climb. So we got the shallow, we're good, but
Hmm.
it's the deep climb that we're
One
struggling
of the
with.
things our students did well is they knew they weren't going to prioritize climb right away with our build and with our CAD, but they knew they wanted to leave space kind of central to the
Sure.
center of the robot to add that component in once we got far enough along. And that's something Brogy's been working on, I think, is the climb.
So, Brogy, have you designed it? It's ready to go?
Uh, ready to go are strong words, I think. Um, it's being designed with a lot of heavy inspiration from the Everybot, actually. Um, so I've been working mostly by myself. I just sketched it out on a piece of paper. I think on when? Monday? Yeah, I think Monday, yesterday. And I kept working on it today. So I put about maybe 8 hours of practice time into it, maybe a little less. And it's shaping up to look pretty nice. We still have to work on a little bit of a prototype. We're worried about some winch potential problems with that. Um, but the CAD is going as smoothly as CAD usually does. And yeah, I have hope, not high hopes, but hope.
I think you spent a little more time than 8 hours if you couldn't remember yesterday was Monday. I'm just saying,
It's been a long
your
week.
coach was like, "Yeah, it was yesterday." Brogy, it
Yeah,
was yesterday.
it's been a while.
They all blend together.
They
Oh
do.
yeah.
That's what robotics know. Every year's this way. I'm stressed until that robot's ready to go and programmed. It's stress. It's good stress, but it's stress. So you guys will get through it. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Multiple attending state and world's championships. It's you guys know what you're doing. No
Knock
worries.
wood. Yeah.
So what is the one thing and one last question for all the students? Eleanor, what's your first comp? Where are you guys going first?
It's
Do you remember?
no, I don't remember.
Jackson. Week
Jackson.
3, Jackson.
Week three,
Jackson.
Jackson. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So you got a little bit more runway. You
Yeah.
got a little bit more runway.
And we've
Don't
got our school district has a week off after this week,
winter break.
winter break, and
Mhm.
we're allowed in there during the
Oh,
day.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys got more time, but
Yeah.
use it wisely, just from another coach. So you, you may hear Coach Renee say it, but from another coach,
Yeah.
don't take it for granted.
No.
Mm.
So that's week three. Daniel, where is your second event?
So our second event is week 5 in Renaissance.
Okay. Okay. Downtown Detroit. That should be
Yep.
very interesting. Not too far from you, but very
Nope, not too
interesting.
far.
I've always said that they need to bring, and I hope Dean Kamen's watching this. He's not, but hopefully bring it back to Detroit. Please bring
Yes,
Worlds back.
please.
At least
Please.
Chicago. I'll take Chicago.
I'll take Chicago.
I'll
I'll take
take
Yeah.
Chicago.
I'll take it.
I'll take Cleveland, and I hate. Well, I'm not a Ohio fan. I'm a Michigan
Oh.
fan.
Oh, well,
So
we'll go to Cleveland. Even Georgia, maybe?
4 hours. No,
Yeah.
like 4 hours.
Okay.
Somewhere.
It's better than Houston.
Yeah. Indianapolis, right down the road.
Yeah.
Right there.
Indianapolis.
Yes.
Hmm.
Do two. So more teams get more access. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Xavier, my last question for you is you said CAD's done, but if Brogy's still working on CAD, is CAD done?
I did forget about the deep climb. It's easy to forget about because I keep on looking at the subsystems that I designed, and
Yes.
I'm thinking my work here is done, but in reality, there's still a good bit left.
Okay. Brogy, I got a really good question for you. This one's going to be a hard one. It's a curveball, right? Do you think we'll see a team score more than 100 points in week one?
Week one. Um, hmm. That's tough. I feel like there are a lot of really great teams out there. I know like some near us are Rush and the Hot. Um, and I think if anybody can do it, it's those top performers. And there's always a chance for an underdog too. Um, I think, FRC is one of those things where you can't really count out anything. I feel like I've seen a lot of really wacky designs, and I feel like if anybody can do 100 points in week one, it's some of the high schoolers out there.
So
Yeah.
Roji has a future career in politics because you didn't answer it, but you did walk around it. So
Yeah.
yes or no?
Is maybe an option? Maybe it's not an option.
No, it's a yes or no.
I'll go with yes.
Okay, there we go. Daniel was trying to support you. He's like,
Uh, so back to the comment that was made earlier, I do too much scouting. Um, If I remember correctly, which I do because I'm always right, week one's Kettering event holds teams like Rush, Fully Freeze, Mech Warriors, RoboCats, and a bunch of other like high scoring teams, Strike Zone, stuff like that. So I guarantee you that there is going to be a plus 100 point game in the first week. There are so many powerhouse teams there. If we don't see, we'll be shocked.
so let's sweeten the deal a little bit, Daniel, because you just put yourself out there. I'm going to say that if you're wrong, we're going to concentrate on Kettering week one because that's what you said. And you
Yep.
said you're always right. So
Oh yeah.
if there isn't a single match that doesn't reach 100 points, you owe Coach Renee her favorite coffee drink from wherever it's from.
Okay,
Deal?
the funny thing though is I'm allergic to coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Her favorite beverage.
We'll go with tea.
Tea. Her
I'll
favorite.
sweet I'll sweeten the deal even more. I think there will be at least two matches that have plus
Okay.
100 points. Here's my deal. If there are at least 2 matches with over 100 points, I should be allowed to come back. You know.
You can't do that. That's breaking the rules.
I mean, come on,
You
but
could come back as a student mentor, but you can't come back as a student.
eh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, so when I release this, because it goes on the internet, it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
fact. Okay, got
Yep.
it.
I
Okay,
I do way too much scouting. I guarantee you with some of these teams here, I mean, some of these teams perform extremely well every year. I guarantee you there's going to be plus 100 point matches in week one.
okay, we got it. It's good. My next question's for Noah. Ready, Noah? Okay, let's try to make it a really good one. I'm gonna think just slightly. I don't have the Jeopardy music ready. I should have done that. There we go. Daniel can see that. Okay, Noah, take yourself off mute.
Okay.
How many autons will you guys have ready for week 3?
Oh, that was my Nils question.
We're
I
gonna
wanted to throw him
have,
off. That'd be an easy question for the coder.
yeah, I think we're gonna have two autons.
Two?
Okay, 2.
I think we're gonna have two autons.
Uh,
And I think they're
Kill it.
gonna be we're gonna have two solid autons and maybe like one other very flaky auton. But I think with the amount of with our current schedule right now, how we're a little far behind right now. I think we'll catch up enough to have two autons, but I think there definitely will be some pit coding
okay.
during competition.
That was the closest I've ever had to someone spitting something that was in their mouth at their camera, and that was Daniel.
Oh.
224 episodes. Almost. Almost. You got your breath, right, Daniel? You good?
Most.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Daniel's the best.
Okay. He's the best. Okay, Hung Yo. Now, Noah just threw you under a bus. He bus
Yeah.
chucked you and said you're only going to have 2 good autons. How many autons are you going to have ready for week 3?
Well, no really underestimates our programming team. I will say programming actually compared to other years has had a head start. Um, I know our robot isn't done right now, and that's actually why I've been kicked off of programming for a bit. But throughout our off season, and into this year as well, we've adopted many new features, I'd say. We've written our code. We're actually kind of trying to adopt or here over the off season. What we tried to do was our lead code mentor
Mhm.
was thinking about making a library that we can use, which many teams do year after year. So you don't have to rewrite the same thing every year, right?
Mhm.
So we didn't exactly get to that. We got a start on it, but we didn't exactly get to it. So what we decided to do is to rewrite basically our last year's code because you don't have to, we're using the same swerve drives and you don't have to write swerve drive code one more time. It's the exact same thing. And we have an arm on the robot. You don't need to write arm code twice when you have arm code. So there's just like a few similar subsystems like that that we can rewrite however we want and make new things for it. I personally have been working on a lot of those new things. And I can say Auton wise, I think we'll have a solid four. Four. I think we'll have a solid four.
You just doubled your productivity by 100%. Good answer. Daniel is a card. I can tell he's a lot of fun to have on the team, Renee.
He is.
Everyone needs a Daniel on their team.
Yes,
So
they do. They do. I don't know what we're going to do when we don't have a Daniel on our team.
you have him
Sorry,
back
I'm
as a
sorry.
student mentor.
Yeah.
Okay. We've been doing this for 52 minutes and we could do this for a lot longer. But so you guys know, as students, in case you ever want to do a podcast, the perfect podcast length is between 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. Especially kind of something like this because you get really in depth with the questions. Okay. So as you sign up, we're going to ask you who you are again, what what your position is on the team, and then Hanyal, I have a very special question for you at the end, so you'll go last. Okay. So we're going to go with you, Renee, first.
I'm Coach Renee for 2960 Automation Nation, and I also want to give a shout out to LTU and thank them for sponsoring our team. We're super excited to be sponsored by them again this year. We're looking forward to going to tour the campus and hopefully having them in our shop.
Renee, you're up next. No, Renee. Eleanor, you're up next. I'm reading the names. I'm reading the names right there on Zoom. Make sure I've got it right.
I'm Eleanor. I am one of the captains on the team, and I'm also the lead of electrical. I didn't mention this earlier, but I do also work on mechanical, some design, and programming.
And Cam and Router.
Oh,
Everything. The jack of all trades times
Yeah.
2. Got it. Daniel, you're up next.
Okay, because Eleanor said a few things, I'm gonna have to top that. I'm Daniel Milchamp. I am the only senior on the team. I do everything you can think of. I do spirit, I do outreach, I do presentations, I do media, I do design, I do strategy, I do impact, I present to judges, I do every single thing there is. I do scouting, way too much of it, possibly too much. Um, I I'll get into that later. And hopefully soon, guest, speaker on another RoboZone podcast.
Oh, look at that.
Maybe, maybe.
Very nice. Very nice. I might take you up on that, Daniel.
Hey.
All right. Xavier, you're up next.
I'm Xavier, and I'm the CAD and design lead um, at Team 2960.
Roji.
I'm Broji, and I am the build lead and safety captain. So I'm involved with mechanical, and I also have been a part of the design process. I've canned parts and ran the router, and hopefully I'll be involved in electrical in the coming weeks.
Oh, you just got to volunteer, Eleanor, right there. It's recorded.
oh,
Noah, you're up next.
I'm Noah. I'm the FRC technical director. Um, and I do just about everything that doesn't involve touching a computer, which, includes manufacturing parts and electrical and a lot of outreach stuff, but just no computers.
Okay, no computers. Got it. That's your kryptonite. Got it. Hung y'all, you're up next, but I got a special question for you at the end after you tell us who you are and what your position on the team is.
Hi, I'm Hungyal. I'm a captain. I'm the programming lead. I dabble in CAD and CAM, though I do make mistakes sometimes, I'll say that. And I am the FTC technical director for the middle school teams we help out.
Okay, my special question for you, Hangyao, is how do we follow the team? Because I don't want Daniel to talk. How do we follow your
Interesting.
team on social media?
How do we follow our team?
On social
Okay.
media, yes.
So we actually have our Instagram. You can search up Team 2960 and you will find us. You follow us on Instagram. Daniel does sometimes post social media stuff. He does social media too.
Coming out with the bangers
Um,
soon.
we have, to my knowledge, I think we have a Facebook as well. And you can try searching up Team 2960. I think
Oh,
that's it. Yeah,
yeah,
We
that
have it.
Yeah, we also have a website.
okay.
Yep, I was about to say that. We
And
have
Blue
a
Alliance.
website. Yep, we have Blue Alliance. You can find us 2960. You can find our website. You can say FRC 2960. You'll probably find us. It's a sites.google website. And there you'll find like a bunch of our history resources, people on our team, what we do, outreach, stuff like that. But yeah, that's our like social media.
All right.
As far as outreach goes, if I can just end with one more
Sure.
thing, we have an open invitation to most of the other teams around Oakland County, and we openly invite and have other teams come and hang out. We have about 7/8 of a full field in our machine shop. So when teams are ready to come and run their robot, test their swerve drive, we're happy to have friends come and play.
That was a mild flex. Slightly. Mild flex. Anyways, just jealous. I don't have that. I have only half field. So, and I don't have a machine shop.
That's all you
So.
need this year. You only need a half field.
That's true this year, but we'd like to design things for our future, right? So
Then come back.
I want to thank all you guys for coming on board. Again, this is probably, and I'm not joking around, probably one of the most enjoyable interviews I've ever had because you guys are just forthcoming, you're prepared, you're just having fun, and I just that's what I love about First Robotics. So thank you for coming on board with us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.